just first of all, Chris, now we've got you, just an update on the head coach search. Where are we on the Wednesday?
We're a little bit further down the line than we were last week. I think it's just time at the minute. I'm juggling a couple of jobs, juggling a couple of jobs here. But I've had initial discussions with the people that we've identified, and those discussions will be ongoing through the weekend, and hopefully the start of next week, mate. I know I wanted to get something done before our board meeting on Friday, but it's just hard at the minute with the time frames and coaching and being here, there and everywhere at the moment. So we said we were going to take us time. It's taking a little bit more time, JD, to be honest, but it's just got to be right, and we'll make sure it is right.
Yeah, you've got to take your time. Have you got an idea in your mind, personally, who you would like?
I've got an idea who I think is the right fit for this club in 2026. Yeah, like I said, there's been a lot of very, very good candidates, and I'm really excited. The people that have applied, and excited the four that we've spoken about. But yeah, I've just got to stay pretty neutral with it all, JD, and make sure it's the right guy for the Castleford Tigers. I've said it many times. It'll be the biggest signing I'll make at this club, and we'll make sure we do get it right, and we do take his time with it.
Like you say, you're juggling a couple of jobs at the moment. On the playing front, what's the situation with Zack Seini? Obviously, had that horrendous gash to his face as he left the field last week.
Yeah, it looked really bad. He's got several facial fractures there in and around the eye socket. So he's in for surgery. He's in actually today for surgery. So we're probably looking about 4-week time scale. They're going to put a plate in there. So it's very similar to, I think, the Matt Duffy one. All them weeks ago. I think he missed the semi-final of the Challenge Cup, I think, Matt Duffy, or he came back for the semi-final. I can't remember which, but I think he were away. I think he were out 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, it's disappointing for Zack. He's probably been our most consistent player this year, and his yardage carries are really, really good. It was a bit of friendly fire as well. It was an elbow from Sam Wood when we've looked at the incident. So he got a significant gash there, and it swelled up straight away. Couldn't see out of that eye. But yeah, the medical staff had done a great job. Took him straight to hospital, and unfortunate for Zack. He's going to miss the next 4 weeks. But yeah, we're hopeful that we see him the back end of the season.
Woody's obviously wanting his starting spot back, bizarrely.
Yeah.
How different could the side look than on this week? Obviously, you were disappointed with the performances last week.
Yeah, I was just disappointed with the just the effort levels, really, and that's I can cop getting beat, and I can cop, I can cop getting beat by the better side, and I thought St Helens were the better side, but we should never get beat on effort, and that's what disappointed me more than anything. And it looked like we turned a corner against kind of Warrington, and as effort levels were really, really high, and then we're putting a substandard performance against St Helens, and we showed in parts what we can do when we're on it, and when we're connected, and we had no real connection that first 40 minutes. There were too many inside shoulders that we lost. There were we had a real lack of intent about us through the middle, and it's just frustrating. It's something that we need to get right, and we will get right.
Andy Duquesne obviously made his debut. You spoke after the game about it. When you've looked at his footage, what's your more considered opinion about how he went, and how you might use him from here on in this year? Yeah,
it's a massive step up. It's Andy did himself proud, he did his family proud. I was really, I was pleased for Andy. I think with such a young kid going into such a big game like that. You know, he showed some really good touches. He showed, you know, we know that, you know, Andy's not the finished article by any stretch, but we know that we've got a player on his hands, and you know, it's just like I said, I just think it's been a good opportunity to give. We'll use these next 8-9 weeks to give some more opportunities to players. Jensen Windley will be in the mix this weekend. He's been out at Sheffield on loan. It was very close last week. So yeah, it's, you know, I was pleased for Andy. I'm pleased for him. I think we've just got to manage him right. You know, he's not quite ready for that week in, week out intensity of Super League. He's still got a body that you know, that he needs to fill into, and you know, we'll work with him. You know, Andy's here for the next few years, and he's a bright young kid. Yeah, we'll make sure we look after him and do the right thing. But yeah, he may play again this season for us, or there's some opportunities to get him out on loan as well. So, and there's some reserve games between now and the end of the year.
What sort of challenge do you face on Saturday then at Hull KR?
Well, a very similar challenge to what we faced last weekend. You know, a very physical team. They're very good at putting you in a corner and making you work hard to get out. You know, I think last week we kicked the ball 6-7 times from inside his own 30-metre lines, which shows that we've got we've struggled to get out of his red zone. So they're very good. They're a very good side at strangling you, and you know, the top of the league for a reason. So it's just another massive step up for us. JD, we know what they're going to throw at us. We know how, you know, what a crowd they've got behind them. You know, it's a fantastic atmosphere at Craven Park, and they're very vocal, and it's great to see him doing so well. You know, I'm really pleased for people like Neil and Paul Lakin. You know, all those guys that have been there. You know, when things were tough 10, 15, 20 years ago. So yeah, I'm pleased they're doing well. You know, I hope they don't do too well this weekend, but we've just spoke about, you know, this being an even bigger test physically than what we faced last week. You know, everything they do it with speed. They've got two big wingers that get them on the front foot. They've got an unbelievable forward pack. You know, every single one of those players has got leg speed. So we've just got to match that intensity. It's you know, I'm looking forward to seeing how these guys respond this week. You know, the things during the week that I probably didn't get right, probably team selection, you know, in some parts as well. So, you know, I'm still learning about this team as well, and I'm looking forward to a positive performance on Saturday.
You mentioned Andy Jacassi there. When you were at Wakefield, I think you gave debuts to Max Jowett, James Batchelor, Tom Johnston, guys like that have gone on to become established Super League players. I know you won't be the head coach next year, but how important is it that the club keeps those pathways open for you, Fletcher Rooney's, George Hills, Andy, people like that?
Yeah, it's massively important, mate, and you know, we've had an issue over the last few years just keeping hold of our young kids, our talented young kids from Castleford, and you know, there is a really good pathway here. You know, I know in terms of, you know, when you're showing a kid round, you show him around the stadium. There's not a great deal, you know, at this moment in time. But what we can provide is a really good pathway for these young kids to get into the first team. I think, mate, there's quite a few of us. We're really optimistic. The young kids that are coming through the academy at this moment. Yeah, and I'm really excited. I think the new coach will be really excited what, you know, the young kids that we've got in the system.